Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is one that I'm excited to film because today we're going to talk about some eyeshadow palettes. So a little while ago, I'm not sure how long ago because I'm pre-filming a little bit right now, but I uploaded a video sharing some of my top palettes for fall that I already own in my collection, kind of a little shop your stash for fall video. And in that video, I shared a lot more than 10 palettes. I went a little bit palette crazy, but in today's video, I thought it would be fun to rank my top 10 fall palettes, if that makes sense. Fall makeup just makes me super duper happy, so I thought it would be fun to kind of rank these palettes and share with you guys my top favorites. So out of that bundle that I put in that other video, I chose 10 and then I ranked them, and I'm really excited to share them with you guys, so let's hop into it. Alright you guys, in 10th place is my Frozen 2 on a palette from ColourPop. Not that I don't like this palette, I don't dislike any of these palettes, but when I think of fall, I want my tones to be a little bit more intense. This is like a cozy, soft fall look. This is like a warm sweater look. Like a warm sweater, curled up on the couch with a good book, drinking a cup of hot chocolate. This is what I think of when I look at this palette and I think of fall. Gorgeous would create some beautiful fall looks, but not like the fallest thing you could do or the fallest you could be, you know? The next palette that I wanted to include is my BH Cosmetics Royal Affair palette. I love this palette. You guys know, if you've been on my channel for a while, I've loved this palette for years, and I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. It has a lot of really beautiful neutrals with a couple pops of kind of fall color, but nothing like too crazy and too intense. As I said in that other video, if you want a fall palette, actually I don't know if this is available anymore. You might be able to get it on Kohl's website. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But if you guys are looking for a fall palette or you want to pull one out of your collection, but you're kind of still in the neutral zone right now, you're not really in a colorful mood, this might be a really great palette for you. Again, I feel like this palette is fall, but not as fall as it possibly could be, because when I think of fall, I think of some more intense pops of color, like those really rich reds and oranges and like bronzy tones, kind of like what I have on my eyes today. And this palette doesn't quite give it to me. Next palette that we have coming in at number 7 is the Menagerie Killer Purr palette, and this one I honestly ranked a little bit lower because the formula is just a little bit, it's not difficult to work with, it's just not my favorite. And it's mostly not my favorite because of these two shimmers right here. They're just like super lackluster, super unlike all of Menagerie's other shimmers, which is so strange. Usually their shimmers are like super duper metallic, super pigmented, and compared to the other shimmers that they have in their line, these just really don't stand up to it. But it does have a really gorgeous color story. It has some really beautifully saturated like mustard tones, orangey tones. It's got that gorgeous like olive green right there that is so pretty for fall. It's a gorgeous palette, but it's just not my favorite fall palette. Next up we have a palette from Shroud Cosmetics, and this is the Arcana palette. This is a beautiful, really richly jewel tone palette. It's unlike a lot of the other palettes that I included in this video, but I think you could create some really gorgeous looks in it. I love the super saturated orange. I love this berry tone right here so much. Berries are some of my favorite shades to wear in the fall, and like this is a gorgeous metallic like berry cranberry shade. I even think these greens right here would create some really gorgeous rich fall looks, and I love that this palette's also a little bit more jewel tone, so you can take it in kind of that like fall wintry direction of jewel tones versus like just those super intense saturated warm tones. And I'm really excited to create some looks with this palette. Next up we have the Ace Beauté Flare palette, and I didn't rank this one any higher just because I feel like it's lacking shimmers for me. I love the matte shades in here. They are so intense, so vibrant. I feel like if you wanted to create like the look of the fall leaves on your eyeballs, this would be the perfect palette to do that. But it's really lacking a lot of those shimmery shades that I love to include in that kind of look. It's got like your nice metallic orange and a nice ruby red, but the shimmers are a little bit lackluster in my opinion, so this one didn't get ranked any higher simply because of that. Next up we have the ABH and Jackie Aina palette. This one is kind of like, I feel like a mix between your super warm orangey tones and like those gorgeous berries and jewel tones. I feel like this would be so pretty, create some more sultry fall looks rather than like super vibrant fall looks. And I'm excited to do just that with this palette. I really truly enjoy the formula on this palette, and the color story is really fun to work with. It's like I don't want to say surprisingly cohesive, but like sometimes I look at this and I pair colors together that I wouldn't normally pair together, and they blend together just absolutely beautifully. Jackie did an incredible job curating this color story, and I'm so excited to use it some more this fall. Alright, you guys, we are down to the top 4, and I have to admit that a lot of these are just kind of those classic, super intense, vibrant warm tones, because that's really what I gravitate towards in the fall. And the first one that I want to share is one that I'm like so freaking excited to use this fall, because I actually received it for Christmas last year, and at that time I was kind of like into more cool toned, colorful tones, but like this is a fall palette and I'm so excited to get some more use out of it. It is the Whatever palette from ColourPop. I mean, if you guys know this color story, you know it is fall. It is so beautiful. It has so many of those beautiful kind of reddish burgundy tones, some gorgeous coppers, those beautiful warm neutrals. Like, this palette just makes me happy when I look at it. Like, I can just see so many beautiful looks coming from this palette. I feel like this is like a mindless fall palette. Like, you could create any number of looks in here and they'd all be perfectly fall. Okay, you guys, the palette that I chose for the number 3 spot is the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette, and I think I would have ranked this higher if I didn't feel like I usually want to pull in another palette when I use this to create fall looks. This is a really, really gorgeous, like, summer fall palette. I only say that because I feel like this palette is lacking a little bit of depth. It does have like one deep dark matte shade, but sometimes that's not quite what I want. But I feel like a lot of the other shades in here are very, very vibrant. Like, this orange looks orange on the eye, the yellow comes off very yellow, the berry comes off very berry. They have a lot of vibrancy on the eyes, but they don't have a lot of depth, and I feel like that's kind of the difference I make in my looks when I transition them from summer to fall, because I still love those super intense warm tones, but I like them to have a little bit more depth and a little bit more smoky sultriness. So that's why I didn't rank this one higher, but I think it pairs really, really gorgeously with like any of the palettes that I've mentioned to create really gorgeous fall looks. Alright, you guys, we're down to number 1 and number 2. Pause the video here, leave me a comment down below letting me know which 2 palettes you think are left. I feel like some of you are going to be shocked, but some of you are going to guess them like right away. Okay, guys, so the palette that I put in the number 2 spot is the Sigma Corderosa palette. I feel like this was the palette of the summer that everyone just like freaked out and raved about, and a lot of people said that this was like a summery palette, but I saw it and I was like, there goes the brush. But I saw it and I was like, that's a fall palette, like this is fall. And I can kind of see where it's like a summery palette. Like, that peach is really gorgeous and summery, so is that pink, but like this red, this metallic, these coppery tones right here, coppery oranges, like that's all fall. That's summer is not here anymore. So I am so excited to kind of dip into the sultrier side of this palette and create some really deep, rich, saturated, warm tone looks. Oh, like these looks are like you're in your plaid, you've got your riding boots on, you're stomping through an apple orchard, sipping apple cider. That's where we're at with this palette. Okay, guys, the final palette that I'm going to mention is like a staple fall palette in a lot of people's collections, and it's one that is no longer available and that many people are moaning about, and that is the Good Sport palette from ColourPop. You guys, I feel like I did not fully appreciate this palette when I bought it because I wasn't quite as adventurous with my eyeshadow colors as I am now. This is actually a palette I have on my eyes today. I'm going to post an IG story tutorial on this look the day that I post this video using this palette, and I'm so excited. I just freaking love the look that I created with this palette. I feel like every time I go into this palette and create a look, I'm so happy with the result, and it's always perfectly fall. I was gonna share another fall scenario that like would embody this palette, but I feel like this is like all of them. This is going to the pumpkin patch, this is picking apples, this is like almost Halloween wrapped in here as well, and I just absolutely freaking love it. I know this palette is no longer available, but I know there are several videos out there. One I know for sure from Makeup Just for Fun where she created a dupe of this palette, I think using ColourPop singles. I would like to create a dupe of this palette with my singles over on my Instagram, but I can't promise that I'll have done that by the time this video goes live. So just follow me over there and keep an eye out if you guys are looking for kind of an alternative to this palette. But this is my favorite fall palette. I am so freaking excited for fall makeup, you guys. I have so many fun fall videos planned, and I hope that you guys are excited. But that's gonna wrap this video up today, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you found it entertaining. It was just kind of like a silly funny eyeshadow video. This has been such a weird year that I know a lot of us are just like, bring on the fall, bring on the comfort food, the comfy clothes, the boots, just like wrap us in a big blanket and make 2020 all better. So I hope that's what fall is for you guys. That's gonna wrap this video up for me. Leave me a comment down below letting me know your #1 palette for fall, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!